Welcome to Get Over It, the Consciousness Transforming podcast for exceptional 21st century living. Folks, we've got a very interesting lady with us today. We're going to be speaking with Carrie Hummingbird Sammy, and her book is Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. This book cannot be any more timely, folks. It's written in a shamanistic way. She gives you exercises that she calls suggestions, and just reading the information in the book helps you transform. So, listen to the show, and better yet, go out and get the book, because this is a book that will definitely help you shift your vibe. Now, the information shared on Get Over It uses intuitive and pragmatic insight to help you shift your consciousness to break through the blocks and release energy that is no longer needed. Yes, we're going to help you let go of the BS that's been holding you back. But you guys know I always ask, are you truly ready to? And by the way, folks, BS is belief system. A bit about me for my new listeners: intuitive since birth. I'm a third generation intuitive with over 3 decades of experience supporting people to break through the blocks along their path. I'm a strategist for personal and professional transformation, revealing cutting-edge information that enables you to prosper and thrive. I spent 25 successful years in corporate America as an executive sales professional, and I am the founder of Healing Visions Ministries and Northern California Children's Education Network, a 501c3 nonprofit. I provide consultations and healings in all areas of life that heal the mind-body-spirit connection, allowing you to live your very best life. My clients tell me that I keep it real while providing them with accurate information to assist them along their journey as a spirit living a human existence. But they also say, if you really don't want to know, don't ask Monique. My background includes a doctorate in metaphysics, I'll get that out right, a Reiki master teacher, ordained minister, and clinical hypnotherapist. So whether you are stressed, depressed, or possessed, I can help. To find out more about me and my services, go to my website, that's MoniqueChapman.com. I invite you to like and follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Don't look for me on Twitter because I'm no longer there. And if you like the podcast, please subscribe, give girls some stars, greatly appreciated. My guest today, Carrie Hummingbird, medicine woman, mother, and mentor, is the founder of Inner Medicine Training, a mystery school that shares potent ancient traditions from the Andes and the Himalayas for knowing your wisdom and living your purpose. She's a #1 international best-selling author of The Second Wave, Transcending the Human Drama, and Love is Fierce, Healing the Mother Wound, which describes the most direct path to self-realization. And she is the host of the wonderful acclaimed show, Soul Nectar Show. It's a weekly show, podcast, if you will, and it comes on. You need to check it out because she's got some very interesting information to share through herself and the people that she has on the show as guests. And today we're talking about her newest book, and that is Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. It has recently hit the international best-selling list at #1, and you can check her out at her website, and that's carriehummingbird.com, KerriHummingbird.com. Welcome, Carrie.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. Absolutely love the book. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What inspired you to bring this book to the forefront at this particular time?
You know, my inner inspiration guided me to write this book. I've been on the path of Mother Earth medicine for 12 years now, and been learning how to integrate myself with Mother Earth to become one with Mother Earth myself through indigenous practice for about that long. And I guess it was time for me to write my medicine wheel book. So that's what this is.
Well, it's definitely a great book that people can get a lot of help from if they decide to do the work. I always find it interesting that people will be a collector of books, breeze through them, and never do the work. So you got to get out there and do something different, folks. So what do you mean by inner medicine?
You know, my journey included, like many of us, outer medicine. So going to the doctor, going to in my case, the psychotherapist, sitting on the couch for 20 years weekly and trying to fix myself, through someone else's perspective. And then also taking the medicine, right? So the pills to stop feeling things, those, I call them the not feeling pills. And after doing that for 2 decades, when my life was still not perfect the way I thought it should be after all that, I said, you know what, this isn't working, because not only is it just not perfect, I'm down in the dumps. Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. I'm contemplating suicide. I've got suicidal ideation going on, and I've got 2 little boys, and I don't want to leave them. So I've got to do something different. So inner medicine for me is where we stop expecting the outer world to have our answers, and we come inside and we start learning the tools for navigating our inner consciousness, our inner realms, our subconscious, our conscious, our becoming aware of our patterns, getting in touch with the witness that's always there and present within us. That is the journey of inner medicine, really navigating your life from that inner compass.
Well, let's take it a step further and talk about embodiment for a moment. What is it, and why is that important, and how does it tie into the inner medicine?
Yeah, so embodiment is a very interesting part of the spiritual journey, where we realize ourselves as connected to all that is on the planet. So rather than being a spiritual being just sort of temporarily here, trying to avoid the human experience, which many light workers do, many people that find the spiritual path, the whole goal is to escape the human experience. And the embodiment part is actually on the backside of that experience, is to come back into the body with your consciousness, with your higher vibes, with your soul knowing, your witness, your knowing of yourself as the witness, and to come fully into your life experience, fully into your body, connecting into yourself as a piece of earth, as a cell of earth.
So that's what I call 1 foot in spirit and 1 foot on earth. So is that about the same?
I think it's the same, except that it's actually a feeling sense of being in your body down to your toes. A lot of people live in their bodies to about their jawline, and the rest of their body is not actually part of their experience, not paying attention to it. And so what we want to do is get so immersed in our experience that we're really all the way in. And that embodiment journey means that we're going to have to face things that got stuck in the body, old traumas, frozen pockets of pain that we weren't able to deal with when we were younger. A lot of things that we didn't want to face before, we're going to face it when we embody, because in order to embody, we are bringing our soul down into the tissues. We're bringing awareness and consciousness down through every aspect of our bodies. What happens is that now we become aware of the things that we hid from ourselves before, that we just didn't have the tools to process. Those all come to the surface for us to become aware of. And that is a process that requires some support, as you can imagine, because that's some of that stuff that comes up is remembrance of traumas, or remembrance of pain in your life, or places where you were hurting and you didn't have the tools to process it.
Or the people around you to help you process it. So when that happens and the body remembers the pain, this is just my musings about this subject, but is it that as we get older, we haven't done the work for whatever reason, even trying to do the work and just not getting to that particular point? Does the body then itself create dis-ease within itself to bring to the forefront the opportunity to let go of that pain?
Well, I think you already know the answer to that question, but yes, that's also that's definitely been, yeah, that is yes. And I'll give you a perfect example from my life experience. So when I was in that 20 years, I was going to psychotherapy that I mentioned. I was processing everything through psychotherapy as it's taught in the Western model, which is really talk therapy. And so that means I'm trying to process my life experience using my mind, and really not the other parts of me, because that's not really the model. It's starting to evolve now, but the original model, and I'm 53. So to give everybody an idea, processing everything through my mind. And I didn't really have or learn any tools for processing my feelings, my emotions, and getting under the surface of those. So one of my things in my marriage was that it was really hard for me to deal with conflict. And I know lots of people feel this way. It's like really hard to deal with conflict. And so I would try to bypass the conflict and just create like an instant peace. But what happened is it's a false peace. And what's actually true is that I'm really pissed off underneath, but I'm not allowing myself to admit it to myself that I'm really mad. So all of that anger got stuffed because I would not face it, I would not feel it, and I would not engage in conflict. So after doing that for 20 years, the year after I left my former husband, I found out that I had a cyst on my ovary that was the size of a Texas grapefruit. So just imagine like
Oh my
how
goodness.
big that is. If it had ruptured, I would be dead, right? So I was very fortunate. Yeah, so they had to take that out. In order to get it out, they had to drain it. And when they removed it, I felt relief. And the relief was because that was my marriage cyst. That was the place where my body chose to stuff everything that I wasn't willing to feel inside that right ovary space and that cyst.
Wow, it's amazing how our bodies can help us if we pay attention. Now, you talk about us being in the matrix and mass mind consciousness. Talk to us about that a little bit more, because I think most people who listen to this show, know about the matrix and they know about mass mind consciousness, but there's still a pull toward mass mind consciousness, especially when you turn on the television.
Yeah, the television is a very interesting thing. So there's nothing wrong, so I want to just make it clear. There's nothing wrong about anything. It's just that, it's just that when we decide we want to be fully conscious and self-directed, then we've got to wake up to the fact that there is a programming mechanism that keeps everybody sort of tapped into one way of looking at things, which is going to be apparent through the way that the media presents information and the kind of way that the television presents information. So what we want to do is start to become aware of our agreement with that is really an unconscious agreement to it, because we're born into the system. And, lots of people are talking about this in terms of whiteness. That's another lens to look at it through, is that Western culture has been predominantly created by one set of people and then applied to everybody across the board. So when we start to look at that, we want to start unpacking that and ask ourselves with each thing, is that really true for me? Is that really true for me? And then that takes time to unpack that, and it's kind of like once you start asking the questions, there's no stop to the questions. The questions ask more questions, and then the questions ask more questions, and then there's more and more revelations. And so the path of getting yourself out of the matrix is a path that's going to keep bringing you to more realizations and more questions that you should be asking. So it's an untangling process. And some people prefer to be in the matrix. So even with that Matrix movie, we see, Cypher was like, I just don't even want to be out here anymore because I'm on the edge of civilization. I'm on the edge of realization all the time. And I just want to go back to sleep. And so some people choose to be asleep.
And that's okay. That's part of their soul's path. But for the people who choose to wake up and do something, what is the optimal way that they can start down their path? I know that in your book, you talk about the 4 directions and invoking sacred space. So is that a way to do it?
That's my way, so that's a way I invite people to, because it feels a little bit unknown to a lot of people. Therefore, it doesn't come with a lot of baggage. So when we're working to access the sacred within or the divine, then when we've received a lot of wounding from current models of that access, then it's hard to use those same models to do something new, to access something new. So what the 4 directions give us as Western people that have been conditioned with Christianity, for example, is a way of a different doorway to walk through to understand the divine. And this particular doorway doesn't require a guru or an expert that is above you somehow. It's actually a direct access method for you to directly access consciousness. So this is a very different model than than we've been given through most world religions. And
Mhm.
it's a big freedom, but it's also like entering the wild. I always think of Robert Frost's poem where he says, there were two roads diverged in the wood and I took the one less traveled by. And we're all getting invited now to take the road less traveled by. That is accessible through opening the directions. Opening the 4 directions is going to orient you to your unique thumbprint journey through life. It's going to orient you directly with the mystery. It's almost like peeling back the curtain in and finding your soul, behind the wheel. That's really what we're doing here.
So it's like the Wizard of Oz and discovering who you truly are.
Totally. Yeah. I was thinking that you must have picked up on that image because I was thinking about the man behind the curtain, the wizard. And then you see, it's just this guy, it's just some dude, except it's you, it's your soul behind the wheel of the curtain. It's like, this is you guiding your own life for yourself to have your own sacred mystery, and to unfold and reveal. And you are the only one that can discover it. That's the thing. It's like, stop trying to be somebody else. Like you've got this whole discovery thing inside of you to discover, that's only yours. Nobody else can do it.
But we're so programmed to be someone else. I mean, if you engage in the world at all, if you're a woman, what do you see still? A child size 14 with adult clothes on saying this is the way you should look. Or if you're overweight, shamed truly, even though they're putting bigger girls out there, which I truly applaud, being a bigger girl myself. But it's almost still a shame, we have to put you in a segment. The mass mind consciousness is not, I feel, at the point of being willing to meet you where you're at.
And it is evolving though, Monique, because as people like you and me, and we're having these podcast conversations, more and more people are stumbling into these kinds of conversations or being referred by a friend or, being inspired because a friend started listening to all these conversations and their life improved drastically. And then the person's like, well, what are you listening to? I'm listening to this great podcast. So it is happening. It's just that, when you're in the middle of the forest, it's really thick and you think, gosh, this is so dense. There's no way this is changing, but we have to get out to that outer limit and look back and say, fly with the eagle really high in the sky and go, okay, it is working. And then I think that's why personally, I have patience in my Gene Keys chart, because I knew I'd need a whole lot of patience to be on Earth at this time.
Yeah, it's patience and truly, it's patience, and it's also a sense of being neutral where, if it's not yours, don't fix it.
Yeah.
I just shared with you that my sister, who's an older lady, younger than me, but older lady, fell this morning and she's having issues. She doesn't want to do this, doesn't want to do that. And all of a sudden I went into protection mode and then I backed out. And I'm like, no, this is her issue, not mine. She can deal with it however she chooses to deal with it. And that brings me to the importance of choosing to be real. That is the theme I feel throughout your book, being real, being whomever you are. So why is it so important to be real and not to let anything outside of our souls tell us who we are?
I think that I feel it as a call in my heart and as a matter of integrity that I show up exactly as I am, really transparent. The new humanity that we're moving towards in my exploration of the Gene Keys and the material that Richard Rudd has put together, which is just really amazing, is that, we're heading towards Homo Luminous. And in my training also with the Four Winds and Alberto Villoldo, I mean, this is really like what we've been trained is we are moving towards this rainbow body. Buddha had the rainbow body, Jesus had the rainbow body. These few people throughout time have had the rainbow body. And I've actually seen the rainbow body around some of the Karo medicine people. Like, it's kind of amazing. We take a picture of them and they've got the big old rainbow body around them in the photo. It's like, wow, they really got that. They're already arrived there. That is this unconditional love space, this real self within that is beyond the false personality. And, this isn't about killing the ego. Like, let's just really take a breath, because the ego helps us live, helps us navigate, helps us drive the car, helps us, make sure we get fed, helps us take a walk. I mean, the ego does a lot of really good stuff. And I think that some spiritual people have been on this like kill the ego bandwagon. But really, what if the ego is just a guidance system? It's in its real basic form. It's just here to help the soul navigate through the body. And it's gotten a false personality all around it. And that's what we're clearing. But we're not killing the ego. We're just clearing the falseness so that we can have a more translucent experience of being the soul in the human and have a more pure experience of that, and whatever that looks like. And that might not mean, a lot of people, I think when I say things like that, they think, oh, that means I'll never feel anger again.
No,
that's not what I'm saying.
You might feel more.
You might actually let yourself experience it more, because, anger is your sign. At least I'm a manifestor by design. And anger is my sign that things are like, something's out of place. And so the anger rises up and I go, oh, something's out of place. Okay. It's my sign. What's out of place? What needs to come back into right relationship? So it's not about that. It's not about arriving at permanent permagren happiness all the time. It's about really walking the middle way, walking the middle way and having the experience. We all chose to come here as souls and have a human experience. And guess what? The human experience includes a whole bunch of shadows too, as well as beautiful light experiences. It includes shadow, and there's gold inside those shadows. And when we stop judging it, we're actually going to get to experience a wider range of the human experience than we've let ourselves up until now.
Amen, sister. I agree with you. Now, what are your thoughts around this epidemic of mental illness today? I mean, it seems like with all the shootings, just every place, every aspect of life, it seems like everything is blamed on mental illness. Do you feel it's truly mental illness? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
I think what's happened is that the people who have created the systems of Western psychology have inadvertently and potentially by mistake directed our focus in the quantum field on what is wrong with us, and creating labels to explain what is wrong with us. And so our focus then is on finding out what's wrong with us whenever we can't be constantly happy, or finding out what's wrong with us when we feel anger. And then we have this diagnosis that gives us an explanation of why. And then we can feel shamed and ostracized for having this label, or somehow broken or disadvantaged, or, not normal. And so it's really a fallacy, like the entire way that our attention has been focused on this. And, wherever you place your attention, it grows. So what we've experienced is the effects of this kind of way of thinking. And now we're experiencing that, we have this epidemic of people with mental illness, because we've created the pattern, the seed of the pattern, and it's just grown. Like, I think it's flourished probably in the last 30 years, if we start looking at charts of different diagnoses and when they started and how many people had them and this kind of thing, we start to see it's really only in the last 30 years or so that all of this nonsense has taken root. So what the indigenous people can teach us about this is that they don't latch onto negative outcomes. So when the shaman sees you in your pure essence. The shaman looks past the false personality, past that sort of shadowy self, and into the light at the very center of you. And the shaman focuses on the light. And then everything else that appears to be wrong, the shaman poofs that. And then the main ceremony they perform is the Aini Despacho. And the Aini Despacho is to create right relationship. And that's basically balance and harmony. So whenever you're exhibiting dis-ease, it's because you're not connected actually to the planet as a cell of Mother Earth. You're not connected in balance and harmony with your environments. And so whenever you're out of harmony with your environment, you're going to have symptoms of dis-ease. Now, what we've done is we've said, oh, look at this disease. Oh, there's another form of disease. Oh, wow, check it out. Over here, down this rabbit tunnel, there's another form of disease. And we've categorized it. And this is one of the things I remember Alberto Villoldo, one of my teachers, saying is Western medicine has a 5,000 page book on like all the ways you could be broken. And the indigenous people, they don't have disease like that. That doesn't exist in their worlds. They just go, oh, you're out of balance. Let's do a ceremony to bring you back into balance. And then all the stuff clears up. So I think that all this mental illness is a result of this storyline that got created and everyone putting their focus there. And it's also out of the fact that we're not in harmony with our environment. We are imbalanced in terms of our body connection, in terms of our connection with the planet, and in terms of our harmony across the various aspects of life. We're very imbalanced, and that's why we're not doing very well.
Okay, so that brings us to grounding. We talk about being in harmony with your environment. If you're grounded, I believe that you can be in harmony, but so many people don't know or don't recognize the importance of grounding. Talk to us about that, and then also talk to us about in your book, the 4-4-4-4 breathing.
Yes, absolutely. So grounding is about comforting the animal part of you, which is the human vessel. It's an animal and it needs connection with the earth. So when you place your bare feet on the earth, or you sit on the earth, or even lie belly to belly with the earth, that gives you connection again. Your body gets connected to the earth. And it's like you want to keep it connected with its source. So as we connect with the source, what happens is that our heartbeat starts to align and synchronize with the heartbeat of the planet. And this is heart coherence. And so when one person has heart coherence, it actually can help everybody else around them to also have heart coherence. That brings in Aini and right relationship.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. And lastly, before I let you go, and I've enjoyed our time together, how do we let go of that mental chatter? I mean, there's always, something going on in most people's heads where they just can't seem to let the thoughts go.
Yeah, so there's lots of different ways to confront that. I mean, I completely understand because I was blessed also with a very busy mind. And so one of the things that I do is I go sit on the earth. I practice the 4-4-4 breathing you were talking about. And what that is briefly is that we breathe in for the count of 4, we hold at the top for 4, we breathe out for the count of 4, and we hold our breath out for 4, and then we repeat that 4 times. And the way we use the breath helps us access different parts of our brains. So when we're in busy chatter mind, we're actually in reptilian brain, which is the reaction survival brain, and the limbic brain, which is the storytelling emotional brain. So when we want to get into quietness, we've got to work with the soul brain, which is more the frontal cortex and neocortex. We want to get into that brain, and that brain's way more quiet. So the way to get out of the busy brain is to get yourself in a trance. And the trance helps you to shift your brain activity out of beta frequency into alpha. Alpha frequency is much more about the imagination. It's about the potentials, curiosity, like the mind of a child. And the theta brain is more of a high spirit brain. If you live in theta, you sort of live in a walking trance, a walking dream. And the shamans live in a walking dream. So everything is a dream to them. The nighttime dream and the daytime dream are different parts of the dream. And when you do that, you access the mystery of life, the synchronicity of life. So there's lots of ways to get your brain out of beta. One of them is the breath. One of them is you could do artwork. Artwork really helped me a lot to get out of my beta brain because you're focusing on creating something out of what you're looking at. The artwork can help you focus your attention someplace other than your thoughts. And you can also listen to solfeggio frequencies. You can do some running. I used to run for miles and miles and miles just to shut my brain up. So you can do like marathon running. You can do drumming. The shamanic drum is a great way to quiet the mind. Playing music of any kind, really. But using that drum is also a way. So there's plenty of ways to do it. And a lot of people are turning to plant medicine right now. And that is a pathway for quieting your mind. And my caution there is that it really should be used within a greater context of spiritual discipline. It's not a pill. It's not the next pill. Like I want to really avoid people thinking like, oh, it's just, I'll just go take a pill or go take a plant medicine. No, like, please, like make it part of a practice, a larger practice. And then you just sandwich that in someplace.
Mhm. Okay, well, Carrie, I've really enjoyed our time together. Folks, the book is Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth and for the Survival of Humanity. She really speaks to what's going on today. Okay, so if you're confused, stuck, or just want more information or want to grow further down your spiritual path, this is a book for you to have, just not on your bookshelf, for you to read, okay, and share with others and get together in practice, because it will change your energy. And the way to change the world is one person at a time. Carrie, before you go, could you give us a pearl of wisdom for the audience, please?
Absolutely. So the primary decision that each one of us needs to make at this time on the planet is, do you fully want to show up? Do you 100% fully want to show up in your life? Because that's the question that's going to make the difference between you having a lot of struggles during the things that are coming our way, or whether you're going to see it as a great adventure. So I encourage you to make the decision to be here 100% and take life's adventure that's giving all of us this powerful initiation out of victim consciousness into sovereignty. This is such an amazing time to be on Earth when we can see it through the eyes of the soul.
Yes, we can. And thank you very much. I greatly appreciate what you've had to say and appreciate your energy today. I know the audience does too. And everyone, please remember that the most important choice that you can make is what you choose to make important. Consider making the masterful choice of discovering your inner medicine. Abundant blessings, light, and love to all. Agape.